guests and visitors here, over here, and here. Oh, good. I'm going to pass these around. So for guests and visitors, take one. On this side, this is in lieu of passing around the newsletter that we've passed around before. So this you can get online using this address right here for our guests and visitors, or if you're not and you want to take one, you want to know how to get online. But on the other side, there's a membership. We're getting sneaky, okay? So anyway, for those who are guests and visitors, pass this around. You can just take them and pass them and take one, and if not, there'll probably be some left. We have to ring the bell. And Don Bradley, where did you sit? You're going to ring the bell for us this morning. Now, for those of you who are guests and visitors, this is how this is going to go. When you open the door over there, somebody can do that for us. So, this is how it's going to go. He's going to ring the bell. If it rings twice, if it goes ding and dong, it's still one ring, okay? So we're going to count just the one ring. And it has to ring 11 times. And when he's finished, we're going to clap and applaud and shout and have a great time, okay? So, you're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Thank you very much. I need to tell you about Arts Alive. This is the brochure. You go online, you check this out, and then the Historical Society gets $1 for each vote, okay? And so you vote and you pay your money, and at the end, which is sometime in September, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they will go through and they'll count all the places that were participating, and if we win, we get money, but also we get one of these because we won this last year, okay? So we can start a collection. So, do your Arts Alive thing. This is, somebody came in this morning, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was Jane. But anyway, this is the Michigan video on the hometown stories, and she was saying she saw it on TV last night and how good it was. Come on in, folks. There's a chair here and a chair here, and so make yourself at home. So these are $19.95 or $20, okay? So purchase yours and you'll have it forever. Or you can record it that this is better, okay? This is our newspaper, and I'll pass these around for guests and visitors. You can take one of these, so I'll start with you here. Take one if you like. I want to remind you to exit by those doors. If you like, you can go into the back in Time Garden, and then you can view the lifeboat. Or if you're just on your way home, you can go out the front doors. Also, I want to remind you of the potluck tomorrow night. It starts at 6 o'clock. Bring one of your best food creations. They're going to provide table service, beverages, music, and so come and have a good time with your friends. And also remember the Civil War reenactment, which is going to be Thursday night, and from the information I have, it's going to be out here on the front lawn. Jim Schmaken, whoever he is, he's going to be doing, there you are, he's going to be doing the trolley tour and talking about the Civil War houses in the area. So remember to do that. And that brings me down to please quiet your cell phones. Okay? And this program is sponsored by Harbor Dock Adventures and Red Burkholz. And today's program is Invasive Species, Land and Water with Doug Wright. Mr. Wright, it's your program. Thank you.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to top the ringing of the bell because that's pretty awesome. I've been there before that's happened, so that's really cool. So, I'm a big history kind of guy, and bells like that are pretty cool. I work at the Outdoor Discovery Center, Mackinac Greenway, up in Holland. We're just kind of on the outskirts of the Holland. Who here has been there before? me tell you a little bit about us. We are a private nonprofit. We've been around for just a scant 15 years. And our mission is to help engage people with the outdoors. And the group that we engage the most, of course, are school children. We see over 15,000 school kids a year, and that number grows every single year, which I think is great. We have formed partnerships with school districts like Hamilton Public to help bring their teachers to the outdoors, because teachers are often kind of scared of going outside their four walls and giving them that word control. So I hold their hands and say, it's okay, let's go outside. And then they realize, hey, it's a great thing to go outside, and we can control things in an outside setting as well. We also do a lot of land management work. Part of our name is the Saugatuck-Douglas Greenway, so we help manage the greenway along the Saugatuck River, and we're in a $12 million restoration project right now to help restore the Saugatuck River to before, well, let's say settlers got here that weren't Native American. So, when people came to this area, even the Native Americans, they like to farm, they like to grow crops. When we got here, we thought, well, if we drain things and make things run in straight lines and water goes faster, it's all better, we can grow more things, which we have been able to. However, it's not so good for the watershed. So there's lots of issues within that watershed that we help do restoration projects on, and the big thing we need to do is slow that water down. Give sediment a chance to slow down and fall out of the water so that once again, Lake Saugatuck used to be called Black Lake because of the detritus in the bottom. You could actually look from the surface and see the bottom, which seems pretty ironic nowadays. That now there's lots of colorful names that kids use for that lake because you can't see the bottom anymore. So trying to get that there, and it's something that will probably happen, in at least the children's lifetime, which isn't a bad thing considering that lake and that river has seen some use over the last 100+ years. So that's a big aspect of it. Another aspect, of course, is working with landowners to help them understand their property, what's going on with their property, and help them with invasive species. So, and that kind of brings me to the top today. Why do we want invasive species? I get that question a lot. When I talk to people and say, ooh, you've got this on your property. No big deal. It's not a big deal. It's supposed to be there. If it wasn't supposed to be there, it wouldn't be there. It's kind of a tough argument to argue with because I can't disprove that because it had to get here. Well, things that are invasive species, we kind of boil that down to things that weren't here originally, kind of like us. Oh, I never thought of that one. We change the landscape pretty severely, don't we? We make things work the way we want them to. And a lot of non-native invasive species do the same thing. They come into an area, they bully out the other plants to create a home for themselves, but they don't do the same things that those native plants used to do. What that causes is environmental impact. And native change causes ripples in the environment. So that one little plant here doesn't seem like a big thing. That one little plant turns into 100 plants, turns into 1,000 plants, and suddenly that beautiful marsh you like to look at isn't there anymore. Because there's a wall of impenetrable grass in front of your home. And that impenetrable grass is Phragmites. And that is a big problem around here. And we're going to look at two different invasive species that are kind of the major concerns because of the river system that you live on, and that's purple loosestrife and Phragmites. Those are ones that were brought over here, usually as ornamentals, or in ship ballast, so the weight that they put in ships so that they don't flip over when they come over, and then they get here and they're like, we don't need this anymore, so they dump it. So we can kind of track things from the eastern seaboard and watch it march across our country. So these are areas in the Kalamazoo watershed, and I did include one that's just outside where we've done work or are doing work. The one just outside is a little to the north here, and it's the Lakeshore Dunes property. It's about a mile long of lakeshore that we're helping do invasive management on that area there. Because there's invasive dune grasses, there's all sorts of invasives to deal with. But that is a nice pristine section of lakeshore and trying to keep it that way. In your community, we're doing work already. The Sandpiper Bay Association, just up around the corner, a group of landowners have a big Phragmites problem. And they decided, you know what, we're not going to wait for somebody else to help us, we're going to take care of this ourselves. And they they contacted us. Yes, sir.
What damage last week of the wind and rain?
I'm not sure what you're
The
asking.
wind and rain that we had last week,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the powerful winds and whatnot, was
Yep.
there a lot of damage?
For
The waterways and whatnot.
the waterways, the big thing that you're gonna run into is a lot of trees down.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because along the banks, they get undercut, high winds don't help those trees and they're gonna go into the water. So that's gonna be a big thing with that, so.
Thank you.
Yep, so we were contacted last year, in October, I think I came and gave a talk, and we talked a little bit about invasive species. And one of the landowners came up to me and asked, well, can you fix this tomorrow for us? I can come visit you tomorrow. I can't fix it tomorrow though. So we went and looked, and it was a project that was bigger than people on the ground could handle. So we actually had to contract out to helicopter spraying and to do over 4 acres of spraying. Because literally you would walk down the water and it would be like looking at this wall. You wouldn't know that there was water there. And the thing with that is that you have to do it a couple of times. You can't spray it just once because it doesn't take care of all that problem. They realize that this is going to be a long haul thing. This is something that's going to cost money, but it's the right thing to do. Moving a little farther upstream, the Potawatomi Marsh, which is a privately owned hunt club. They have over 1,500 acres of marshland there, and they are very much about conservation. Because even though they are hunters, they realize that if we don't take care of this property, the things that we like to do here aren't going to happen anymore. Because those animals, those ducks that we want to hunt, aren't going to come to this area anymore. They're going to come by and go, there's no place to land, I'm out of here, I'm going someplace else. And they realize what happens there also comes down here. With a river, anything upstream, it's coming downstream. So they realize being good land stewards, taking care of the issues with their properties there, helps areas downstream. Moving way up, all the way up to Plainville and Kalamazoo, we worked with Georgia Pacific. They had a couple of restoration sites along the Kalamazoo River, which they worked really hard to take care of the issues that they had made. Plant native plants, so it would be great again, and as soon as you disturb that soil, you get non-native plants, invasive species. And the big one they had there was purple loosestrife, so they contracted with us to put out beetles to help them with their problems there. So we go a little bit all over, but we try to stay more Allegan, Ottawa counties, kind of our home base, because it's a little easier. We are a small organization still. Our conservation staff is all of 3 people, so. And 3 people can only do so much, so we actually contract with, we will actually come visit you for free to help you decide what you've got going on and maybe what a course of action would be. And if we're not able to help you, we can steer you to somebody who can. Because there are lots of great organizations out there that are doing it with non-native species.
Would lily of the valley be a non-native species?
It is, yeah, it's a cultivar.
It takes over.
It will spread out, yes. I've visited woodlots where lily of the valley now covers the woodlot, and the native ephemerals, those native spring wildflowers, don't exist anymore because they get pushed out. So one of the ones we're looking at is purple loosestrife and Phragmites, 2 big issue plants in the watershed. Purple loosestrife, introduced around the 1800s is what we think. It's kind of hard to narrow down a date. Spread along roads, the canals, drainage ditches, and then people went, ooh, pretty. And when they go, ooh, pretty, then people who raise ooh, pretties go, I can make money on this. I can dig it up out of the ditches, I can pot it, I can sell it to you, and then you take and move it. So they got a free ride all across the country. It is now legal in Michigan to sell purple loosestrife. It's illegal. Illegal. Not legal anymore. Here we go. It is highly naughty to do this now. However, I have gone to greenhouses and found purple loosestrife. And it's listed as a name that doesn't call it purple loosestrife. And I will, of course, inform them, you can't sell this. And they say, why not? I'm like, well, this is a highly invasive plant. It's on the no-no list for the DNR. And they're like, oh, well, it was sold to us under this name. I'm like, yeah, but it's not that. So, and they get different names. Yes?
Isn't there a non-invasive one form of it?
Purple loosestrife? No.
Oh.
Purple loosestrife, it is non-native. It is Eurasian, or kind of, there was a couple of different species interbred, they came this way. So mostly Asia is where it came from. So, yeah. It invades the marshes, the lake shores. It outcompetes the native plants and pushes them out, and then, it is a really pretty flower. And you'll see it in marshes, and it's just a sea of purple, and it's really pretty, but then all you see is a sea of purple.
Sure.
And that's one of those things where, I don't know, where I live, I like choices. I like different things. Wildlife likes the same thing. So if they don't have those choices anymore, they have some options. They can either move, or they can perish. So if they're not able to move, then they're not going to be able to forage for the food they need, have the habitat they need, the cover they need. They're not going to be around anymore, and we eliminate habitat. Yes, ma'am?
I'm pretty sure that both here in the marsh and down further, they've done burnouts for both of those invasive species.
Yep.
And it's amazing to drive by the bridge now and not see a sea of purple. There's one little spot way back in that maybe they didn't get to burn, and I see it again and panic. And now I've watched it travel across the state by the ditches, and when you're going down 96 across state, you can see more and more of it as you're getting across state. And then a few years ago, I went to a friend's house, backyard party, and what do they have in their backyard? And I told her all about it, and she was just, I'm not moving it, I'm not killing it. And I said, you don't have to worry about it, all your neighbors are going to have it in a few years.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, education plays a huge role with this.
Can we help by just doing the stupid simple things like, a lot of us here live on a road that outside your driveway, there's purple loosestrife in your ditch. And every one that we cover over with a bag and kill the plant or dig it up and burn it, aren't we saving millions of other ones from being born?
They do have a prolific seed base, about 50,000 seeds per plant. So, yeah.
But if we all spread the word.
Yes, every little thing helps.
Yeah, I'm a nutcase about loosestrife, it just kills me.
And that's one of the issues. My job used to focus much more on the invasive species, and I've kind of gone away from that. I'm not boots on the ground anymore. I'm more boots in a classroom or in a nice building like this that do more of the education side of it. But having worked with this stuff so long, no matter where I go, that's all I see.
See, a couple of years ago,
It's like once you buy a red car, all you see is red cars.
Yeah, like I broke my leg a couple of years ago, so I haven't been able to go out and do as much as I used to. But, I think all of us educating, your neighbor and say, you got that in your ditch, and if you just go out there and put a bag over it and just kill that plant, you're not going to have 100,000 of these in 2 years. So, in fact, I did that at my pools and spa place. He has a pond, and there was one sticking up there, and I told him about it, and I guarantee you, knowing him, he took that out as soon as we left.
I actually have three. One is, what is the beetle that you introduced? That you said?
Where can we get it?
Yep, I will get there.
Okay. The other question, are they high pollen for bees?
Bees will visit them, and one of the big reasons that bees visit them is because that's the only thing in that area.
Okay.
But they are pollinated by insects.
And isn't there some kind of hybrid plant, that a spiky purple plant that looks like that we confuse it with? Possibly?
Oh, yeah. From a distance, they could be confused, but once you're up close, it's a night and day kind of thing.
Okay.
So.
And loosestrife is really
Are you going to show that on both different that you talked about?
I don't actually have a picture of that. I just have the non-native stuff. The scary thing down found in 40 states and all our Canadian border provinces. So it will be in all 50 states eventually.
And loosestrife is really, really tall.
Well, about GA tall.
Yeah, but
A good healthy
we're talking about only gets to be about 18 inches.
Yeah, loosestrife will be a good healthy bush, about 5 feet tall.
Is it illegal in all states or just in Michigan?
Not in all states, because not all states have problems with it.
How
Yet.
come?
I can boil it down to one word, government. Because it's the government, your governing bodies that decide that, and if they don't get pressured by people like you, then it's not a problem.
So it's a state rule that makes it.
It's a state rule
It's a state
for-
rule that
yeah.
makes it illegal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
doesn't it need water in your garden? I mean, a lot of water?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
If you, as long as you have a water table that isn't too deep, it'll grow there. It is very adaptable. Here's a couple of pictures. There's that sea of purple. It's, you know, it's a pretty flower. But also, it starts out where you have one or two, then you get a whole bunch, and then that's all you've got. So it does spread rather quickly, and it is a tough plant to get rid of. You don't ever really get rid of it. You can manage it.
Is it an annual
Pray.
Perennial.
Yep. And that's why it makes it so hard to get rid of. Yes, sir.
Now, what is the mechanism by which these invasive species crowd out the others? How do they do that?
Yes, a lot of it is their growth rate. So, and that they don't have an issue with cold. Even though it comes from a warmer climate, it comes up first, it grows faster. And if you come up first and grow faster, you can get over top of something and shade it out. And then this plant doesn't get what it needs anymore and is gone.
'Cause
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shade it out. That's what happens when you're brave in the front row. You gotta shade it out.
I've heard of plants that have the ability, probably through their roots, to put substances.
You got the illeotrophic plants? Yes.
That will prevent
Yeah.
other things from growing. That's not what's going on?
Now it's just a prolific grower.
Yeah.
A plant called spotted knapweed, which actually you'll see in abandoned farm fields a lot. It's got a purpley flower. It's a pretty plant too. That is allelotrophic, where it actually puts chemicals in the soil that inhibits other plants' growth and spreads that way, and will take it. And that's a tough one to get rid of too. So Phragmites. This one, there is a native version. However, the native version plays nice. You'll find it growing actually in the marshes around here, but you'll find it growing in small stands along with other plants. The non-native you will find growing around here in a stand. No other plants. It crowds out everything. Another 1800s that we figure, think it's European in origin. The problem is that there's all kinds of different Phragmites coming from Europe and Asia, and they interbreed, so the genetics of it are kind of unclear, but from our best guess, we figure it's Europe because brought over chip ballast. So, very widespread, all 50 states and southern Canada. And it's one actually that I see people plant in their yards. Because it's pretty impressive. I mean, it can get 15 feet high, has a very feathery seed head on it. So it's a pretty plant. And it grows really quick too. So. A couple more pictures of it. The big difference is that with the non-native, it's very green in the stalk. The native has red in the stalk. So if you see one with red in the stalk, that's the native. It also is a lot smaller too. If it gets to be 10 foot, that's pretty impressive for the native one. And then the seed heads on the non-native are very purpley, much larger bloom to them too. So pretty recognizable. Actually, if you drove here and came across the bridge, and you looked off to the east, that's Phragmites. And a touch of willow. That's the only thing that's there now. Acres of it. So what we do is you can't just come at things from one direction. You have to do what's called integrated pest management. So you have to take a look at this plant and figure out what's the best way to get rid of it, what's the ways that I'm able to get rid of it, and what's going to do the best long term. Four main ways: biological. Unleash something on it that doesn't like it. So using either another plant or another animal that will either crowd it out or eat it and knock it back. The thing you run into there is you have to do your homework. Because when we just go, this kills this here, and then we throw it out into our environment, we don't know what happens. So lots and lots of research has to go into that before they get approval to actually use a biological control. Chemical control, herbicide. Some of our non-native invasive plants, the only thing that's going to do anything to them is going to be herbicide. Because going with mechanical, which is very labor intensive. Fire, pulling, cutting, mowing. Sometimes pulling, cutting, and mowing just makes more. And then you're just worse off than you were in the beginning. The one that doesn't get used enough, cultural. Modification of human behavior. That's a toughie. We are who we are. But people who come to things like this and then go visit with their neighbors and say, I heard this Doug guy talking, man, was he depressing? But I learned this cool stuff about these plants. And hey, guess what? You got it in your yard. Ooh, what do I do about it? Well, hey, give them a call, they'll come out and help you. That's one thing that we decided when we started doing more invasive species work, is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come visit you for free to at least get your wheels turning on what it might be. And then, you know, you might have the unfortunate thing where we say, well, this is going to cost you a bunch of money. However, there's federal grants that you can get to help you with some of these problems, which is a good thing. The other thing is if you were in a neighborhood association, you bring it up to them, then they realize it's a neighborhood problem. And that's what we've had with the Sandpiper Bay Area. We actually work with a group up by Rockford, a lake association who have some serious issues and a beautiful 30-acre woodlot behind that they own. And they're realizing, oh, if we don't do something about this, then we've got problems. So they banded together and said, yeah, this is something we're going to do. So there's your 4 ways of dealing with pests. Cultural, by far, is my favorite way to deal with things, because the more people I can reach out to and talk to, the more that spreads around. And then when, instead of coming into a property where all it is this, it's, hey, you've got 1 or 2 of these plants, we should get rid of them now. And that's going to make things better. So being more proactive instead of reactive. So you asked me about that beetle. This is that cute little beetle. It's not that big. Man, do I wish it was that big. It's not that big. So how do we do this biological, this we use for purple loosestrife? We get lovely young interns who are willing to go stand knee-deep in muck and dig out loosestrife crowns. So we actually go out and harvest loosestrife plants in the springtime. It can also be done in the fall too, and then overwinter them. Then we bring them back to a greenhouse, plant them all in buckets, keep them in water, make them happy, fertilize them. Just think you wouldn't want to do these things. It seems counterintuitive. Then nice people like my wife go out with me and pick tiny little beetles off of plants. And we usually put at least 10 to 20 beetles on a plant when we bring them back. And the beetles are little tiny buggers. A fun side story that you'll enjoy is the first time my wife went out with me, it was on my birthday. I had the day off, and I'm like, I gotta go get beetles, so I just gotta go get beetles. But we're gonna go kayaking, so it's gonna be fun for my birthday. And I took her out and I explained to her what the beetle looked like. I did not have a cute little picture of him like that. And I'm going out and I'm struggling finding beetles. I'm not finding as many as I'd like to. And she's off in another part of the marsh, and she comes over and she's like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm not doing well at all. I'm about half the beetles that I wanted to get. She's like, I've got tons of them. I'm like, okay, show me. And she showed me, not the right beetle. So an hour and a half of her time down the drain. And my wife is also in the nature field. And she's like, you did not describe that very well. So it was definitely my fault that she corrected the wrong beetles. I agree with her there. But so we go out and we collect these beetles. We let the plants grow up. Having twigs is not so good, so they're nice, luscious plants. We throw netting over top of them, and then we put beetles on them, seal it up, and let them sit there for a month. And a little soft, very white in the background. And you go from 10 beetles to 200 to 300 beetles on a plant. Then we take the whole potted plant to different locations. One of them being the Swan Creek Wildlife Refuge, just north of here up in Kalamazoo. The DNR has hired us for beetles there, and we go into areas where there's bad loosestrife. We plop them down, we take the nets off, let them be free. We leave the pots, because the pots often have juveniles, the kind of larval stage in them. And then in the fall, late October, we come back and we collect the pots. And then we destroy what we have, so that we don't put that into a burn pile and suddenly have more loosestrife on our property, because we have loosestrife on our own property. So
What do we do with it once we get it out? I was told burn.
Well, the beetles actually will do a great job of keeping it in check. What they do is they munch on the plant and stress it out so much that it can't flower. If it can't flower, it can't produce seeds, it's not creating more generations. Then, the thing is though, it's an ebb and flow relationship. Just like in the old fox and rabbit story, we get lots of bunnies, we get lots of foxes. Oh, and all of a sudden we don't have as many bunnies, well, we don't have any foxes. Same thing with this, you'll see it where the marsh will be green for 4 or 5 years, you don't see any purple, and then all of a sudden the next year, kapow, it's purple. And then we get calls, what happened? Well, it's that natural relationship. The beetle numbers went down because there wasn't as much loosestrife to eat. Now that the loosestrife's back, the beetle numbers will come back. But we will re-energize populations too. Yes?
Where did the beetle come from? How did you discover it?
The beetle came from Asia. They went to where this plant came from and did the research and figured out, hey, there's this beetle that really enjoys eating this plant and it doesn't eat anything else there.
Yeah.
So they brought it back here, and in lab, they went, okay, let's see if this thing's going to eat anything else. And they found that it really doesn't like to eat anything else. It likes to eat loosestrife, but other things like to eat it too. So it kind of fit into our ecosystem a little bit better. Even though it doesn't belong here, it's not a problem because this is what it likes. It likes that non-native stuff. That's what it's going to munch on. When that goes away, the beetles drop down too. So, yes?
Have you used it at Potawatomi?
Potawatomi, yes. We've been doing it in the Potawatomi since 2006. And every year we still go back in and boost, because you'll find areas where it's under control, and then all of a sudden, here, this area, how'd that happen? So we'll go and move some beetles over there to help bolster that population. Because they do fly. They don't fly well, though. They're more windblown than anything else. And they're also doing research looking at areas of loosestrife where beetles have not been put out, and they're finding beetles to see that they do spread naturally, but not very quickly. So being able to bolster them helps.
It looks kind of like a Japanese beetle. It's not in the same class?
No, a lot smaller.
So like fingernails? What does an adult male look like?
Let's see. Ooh, sunflower seed would be way too big. About half the size of a sunflower. Like, actually a quarter of the size of a sunflower seed. Where if you try to pick them up, you can squish them very easily. The easiest way to do it is actually take it's a tube system with a pop bottle, where you put the tube on, you've got another tube here, and it sucks them up into the bottle. You have to design it right, otherwise you're going to choke out one of them.
How do they reproduce?
They actually will go through probably 3 to 4 generations in a year. And then the young overwinter in the root crowns. That's why we try to dig the root crowns that we get in areas where we know there aren't sustainable populations of beetles. Because one thing is we don't want to pull, because on one root crown you could have 40, 50 easy larvae that are overwintering there. And then you're moving them from that setting. So this year we dug in the Swan Creek, up in the marsh there, which was a hoot because neither one of me or Ben, our new land steward, had ever been up in that area. And he's like, you know where you're going? Sure, I got this. We made it out, but we chose an area where there wasn't significant beetles, so and those plants will actually grow quicker and faster. So, and that's why we leave them out until the fall, so to make sure that anything in that pot hopefully gets out of the pot because they're going to burn up that plant. When we put them out, there's not a whole lot of leaves left on the plant. They've stressed that plant out significantly, and then they're going to keep chewing on it too. So when we bring it back in the fall, there's not much left of it. So the beetles are a great biological control. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of biological controls for the things that are out there. Phragmites, there isn't one yet.